Well, this might piss off a few people. Hey, gun control hypocrites. Can you do us a favor and shut up? Yes, you people always scream for gun control, even though it has nothing to do with gun control, nothing to do with saving children. Now, I'm not saying you don't care about children. Everybody cares about children. Well, everybody who cares about life cares about children. Obviously, mass shooters don't, and the school shooters don't. But that's beside the point. This has nothing to do with saving anybody. This has to do with straight out guns. Nothing else. You just don't like guns. Now, if you just admit that, which some of you do, perfectly fine. But stop screaming for more gun control or saying that gun rights activists won't give an inch. There's over 20,000 gun laws on the books these days. Over 20,000. There's background checks. Some states have universal background checks. Some states have may issue permits, which means if you don't give a good reason or they don't deem it a good reason, you don't get your permit. There's classes. There's accuracy tests to get your permits. We have jumped through a lot of hoops that you've set up because we appeased you. What the fuck have we gotten out of it? Nothing. It hasn't done anything. It hasn't stopped anything. As you can see, shootings still happen. So stop pretending that you give a flying fuck about the people being shot. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that you just don't like guns. It's guns specifically. Because I don't remember you screaming anything about car control when that woman ran over people on the Las Vegas Strip and wounded 25 to 30 people. And she did this shit on purpose. She went off the curb, back onto it. Twice. Or a few times. So this shit was done on purpose. But I didn't see you guys screaming about anything about cars. And then when you got Muslims that get radicalized going on shooting sprees. The story isn't even finished breaking and you guys are screaming, not all Muslims. Most people don't say all Muslims. We just get tired of the ones that are radicalized, the ones that cause harm. I don't give a shit what religion you are. The second you start killing people, that's when I have a problem with you and your religion. But you guys don't give a shit about that. The first thing you go to is the guns. The married couple. They went through all the steps, background checks, everything. They still did what they did. They went through your system that you set up, that you wanted so badly, and they still managed to pull it off. There was a guy in Vegas who went around stabbing people. He tried to buy a gun, but the clerk said, no, wouldn't let him buy it. But he still managed to stab a bunch of people with a knife. Small story, wasn't about guns, nobody gave a shit. The Uber driver who stopped a possible mass shooting. The second he did that, Uber said you can no longer carry guns. So we did something right? They said, oh no more firearms. Right after that, an Uber driver was held at gunpoint, basically. And in China, there was a mass stabbing. Yes, mass stabbing. Silence on that. None of you gave a shit. It always comes down to guns. Yet, I can go to Home Depot and buy every part I would need for a bomb. I don't know how to make them because I don't care enough to make bombs and I'm not a terrorist. But if I wanted to, I could go to Home Depot and buy all the equipment for a bomb. Walk out, nothing said about it. Set it up. I could easily Google the instructions on the internet, probably. Of course, then I might have the FBI at my door. But the point is, I don't see any of you people screaming background checks at fucking Home Depot or any other home-based store that sells everything required to make a damn bomb. Because you don't care about the casualties. You just care about the fucking guns. And that's getting a little fucking ridiculous. Every time you scream, oh, not one more. How about we admit that it has nothing to do with that at all? Again, I'm not saying you don't care about children. Well, any sensible human being does. I'm just saying that's not what's driving you to say that. Especially all you celebrities who have armed security, or anybody who has armed security. You really have no right screaming about gun control. Until you're willing to give up your armed security, shut up. Please, just shut up. Now, people have mentioned this before. I've seen a lot of tweets about it on Twitter, whenever I called out these gun control hypocrites. And gun control hypocrites are basically people screaming for gun control, even though we have a shit ton of it. You have no problem with armed security in a bank. I can guarantee you, you've walked by the armed security guard a billion times, and you don't give a shit. Same thing that happens in jewelry stores. Anything where money or expensive items are placed. I'm so glad you think that shit's worth protecting. They tell you in the bank your money's insured. When you hand your teller the money, if somebody robs that bank, your money's not gone. It's electronic at that point. But God forbid somebody say, I'm a teacher, and you lose your fucking mind. Oh, I don't want guns around my kids. Hate to break this to you, but I guarantee you when your kids have gone outside, they've probably been near a gun and neither one of you have noticed it. Because not everybody is screaming, I have a gun. Not everybody open carries, especially not criminals. Again, it's all about the gun. It's all you give a shit about. It has nothing to do with safety. You're just a bunch of whiny little children. You have tunnel vision and only see the gun. You don't see the fact that it requires a person to operate it. People are good. People are evil. Evil people are going to find a way to do things no matter what system you put in place. Unfortunately, that system is only set to punish people after they've committed the crime. I'm just tired of psychotically stupid hypocrites who only scream about this shit when something happens and don't put up any solutions other than more gun control. Let's get rid of all the guns. That's not going to happen. It's not. There's just no way to fucking do it. Hate to break this to you, but a lot of states don't have registration. So you don't even know who has a firearm in those states. And yes, it's perfectly legal. Nevada. Registration was gone. They got rid of it. You want to know why? Because they found out criminals don't register their firearms. Shocker, isn't it? I know. And the worst thing about this is you guys are all screaming gun control, screaming more laws, more this, more that. Last school shooting could have been prevented by the FBI because they were warned. They admit they dropped the ball. I don't see you guys saying shit about that. No, you're just parroting more gun control, more gun control. Because that's all you give a shit about. You just zero in on the gun. That kid in California, I don't remember where the hell it was. It was a college. I don't feel like looking up right now. But he used 3 items to hurt people. A car, a knife, and a firearm. He ran people over, he stabbed people, and he shot people. The only thing you guys gave a shit about is the fact that he shot people. Now, if I can remember to and find the story on this, I will link it in the description down below. See, the thing is when it comes to schools, they're gun-free zones. In case you haven't figured this out by now, that does not work. A lot of private schools are arming their teachers because they actually want to protect the students. But God forbid your school wants to arm the teachers, you're gonna lose your fucking mind. I don't want my child around a gun. How about this? You get out of your little fantasy world and move into a reality where this shit happens. Because unless somebody's there to fire the bullets back at the perpetrator, guess what's going to happen? More casualties. Every time this happens, you want to take away the guns, take away the guns, take away the guns from somebody like me who does not go around killing people. I have never fired my weapon at another person. I've only fired at targets. If I can go the rest of my life doing that, I'll be perfectly happy. Now, if I see somebody hurting somebody else with a firearm or using deadly force, of course I will pull my firearm. Because that is the human thing to do. That is the decent thing to do. But no, you can't stand the fact that having teachers armed at the schools to protect your kids, which is kind of funny because you send your kids to a school for 8 hours a day. You expect them to be safe there. You expect them to come home. But if school wants to do something to make sure those kids are protected, you're like, fuck no, no, ain't gonna happen, no way. You don't want it. There's plenty of ways to do this. You want compromise? How about you give us a little bit this time? Arm the teachers. Put a couple plainclothes officers there or something with concealed weapons. Something, because right now, at gun-free, at schools where there's no guns allowed, the only resistance a school shooter has right now is a locked door. And that doesn't stop them very long. What I mean is when the teachers lock the door. that doesn't stop them for very long. That is literally the only resistance that school shooters have. Or when a teacher decides to sacrifice their life for the students. Again, more life lost. But you don't think about it that way. You just want to say, how do we stop that person from getting a gun when there's a good chance they did it legally? Or they stole it from somebody. There's so many laws on the books, as you can tell, they're breaking them. They do not give a shit. And from your reaction, you're not even giving a shit about that. They do this at schools, and they do this at gun-free zones because of the lack of resistance. They can take their time because nobody's going to shoot back. You start shooting back, they're going to rethink their position. But you don't care about that. The only thing you're focused on is the gun. Get rid of the guns, get rid of the guns, get rid of the guns. If you had any clue how many guns are in the United States owned by law-abiding citizens and by criminals, you would know that just is not going to happen. It won't. And until you pull your head out of your ass to understand that, we're never going to have a solution. I hope I successfully pissed somebody off or got somebody to think, because all you gun control nuts don't think whatsoever. You just scream the same shit every damn time. Another solution, which I can tell you guys are going to forget about this one. Veterans, or unemployed veterans, or homeless veterans. If you gave them a job to secure a school, knowing that they're there to protect the children, I guarantee you will brighten their day, and they'll be more than happy to defend your children. You're giving them a job to protect life. I guarantee you they will jump at that. They will jump at that opportunity. But again, it's a gun near a school. You won't be okay with that. So there's no winning with you guys. You've gotten down there everything you've wanted. All the gun laws, the background checks, magazine limits, which hasn't done fuck all. Seriously, I have 4 firearms. 3 of them would be illegal in California. I don't see exactly what you thought you accomplished by that, other than feeling good. And by the way, there's a bunch of rifles out there that operate the exact same way as AR-15. They're just cosmetically different. That's it. But again, big, scary, military-style assault rifle. AR stands for Armalite Rifle, not Assault Rifle. It's a semi-automatic rifle. All my handguns are semi-automatic, which means 1 fire per trigger pull. Get that through your head. And this video was a hell of a lot longer than I expected. Anyways, hope you all have a good night. If I didn't make you think, well, then this video wasn't for you and your IQ isn't high enough to understand what I said. So, you all have a good night.
You cannot invade the mainland United States. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass. Isoroku Yamamoto.
And you've just seen another video by Running Guns News. You know the drill. Sub if you're not. Hit the like or dislike button, whichever. You may support me through either Streamlabs, Maker Support, or Patreon. Until the next video.